That is a series sweep for your Detroit Tigers as they now have one of the best records in all of baseball. We'll talk about that and more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Monday, April 28th, 2025. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K. Did you know that your Fire TV is also an Xbox? You can turn any TV into your gaming and entertainment hub with Fire TV Stick 4K devices. No console required. Head to Amazon.com/Fire TV Locked On to get started. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription and compatible controller are required. Welcome in. Welcome all. Happy Monday. The Detroit Tigers sweep the Baltimore Orioles. I was trying to find a cool way to incorporate the word required into that because it was the last word of the Amazon Fire TV Stick 4K part. And I was like, required. They are required to win. They are required to not lose. It is a requirement to be a really good pitcher, I think, really, to be a member of the Detroit Tigers. Go 3-0 over the weekend. They are 18-10 now on the season. That is the best record in the American League. It is also the second best record in all of baseball. They are one game away from the New York Mets, who hold the record for the record. They have the best record in baseball as it stands right now. They're 19-9. Tigers 18-10. Tigers also have a plus 42 run differential, which at the time of this recording is literally the best in all of baseball. Now, the Cubs are very close and still play Sunday Night Baseball. I'm recording this before Sunday Night Baseball, so I'd imagine that the Cubs are going to overtake and get that spot back. But regardless, they have one of the best run differentials in all of baseball. The Tigers are 8-2 in the team's last 10 games. They are now 13-3 at home this season as well. The Tigers are just good. They're just good. That was really my first thought. Like, what a weekend. One of my general rules that I talk about on this show is when it comes to expectations during a doubleheader. I've very openly for years now just been like, just split a doubleheader. It's very difficult to take both games when you play twice in one day, given just how the pitching works and everything. It's pretty difficult these days and pretty rare these days. The Tigers not only did that, they then took the game on Sunday and swept the series. And everybody wants to talk about how bad the Orioles pitching is. They gave up, 17 runs to the Tigers in 3 games? It's not great. And it's totally fair because the Orioles pitching is really bad. We talked about that going into the weekend on Friday. But this was a Detroit Tigers pitching masterclass. The Tigers gave up 5 total runs to the Baltimore Orioles in this 3-game series. Genuinely one of, if not the best pitching staff in ball at the present moment. So we'll start with that. What went right? Obviously, on the pitching side of things, that is where the focus has been this season. It's been the focus since the winter. And now, in practice, I think the rest of the league is very slowly starting to take notice. Tarik Skubal being at the forefront of that charge, goes 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, no walks, and 11 strikeouts. He generated 22 whiffs in this outing. 22 swings and misses from Baltimore. His ERA on the season is now 2.34. I think he had double-digit whiffs on the changeup alone. had a couple on the slider even in this outing. He is incredible. He is absolutely unbelievable, and he's a Detroit Tiger. And that's pretty effing cool. Really, I mean, there's not too much else to explain in this one for why he was so good. He was hitting his spots with his fastball, and that allowed him to even miss some spots on the changeup, and it just doesn't matter. Like, if he throws a high fastball outside, you have to plan as though high and outside. You have to plan for the, maybe this is a changeup, and it looks just like a fastball until it, the bottom drops out. And if he throws a low fastball, you have to go, okay, maybe that's, it's low. That's probably the changeup. So I'm going to spit on that. No, it's a fastball at the knees. And he throws a low changeup. Okay, I just saw a fastball. I have to swing through. Like, he mixes and tunnels everything so unbelievably well. Like I said, we even saw a couple of decent sliders in this game. Even to righties, like, he just has no fear on the mound. His slider is easily the least effective of his pitches, and he was, throwing them the right-handed hitters in this game. Just doesn't care, man. He's a bulldog. He's such a competitor and such a warrior. He epitomizes this team and city through and through, and I hope he's a Detroit Tiger for a really long time. Outside of Skubal, you still dominated, though. Again, 5 total runs this entire series. Sean Gunther gets called up. He's just been chilling in AAA all season so far. Injuries, but like, he's been down in the minor leagues all season. 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. One of the nastiest sliders you'll see, throwing it to a lot of left-handed hitters on Sunday. Pitched on Saturday as well and looked great. This dude had a sub 1. He had like an 0.8 to 0.6 ERA last year in a decent sample size for the Tigers. Didn't even make the team out of camp and now is back and looks great. They have so much good pitching. It is unbelievable. Keider Montero and Brant Herter on Saturday in game 2 combined for 6 2/3, 5 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts. Obviously not going to blow you away, either of them. And Herter's command was pretty brutal in this one. He was just spraying the ball all over the place, really with the fastball. Could not locate it, tried to go up and into lefties a lot and kept missing his spots, hit a batter. Really just had no feel and still toughed out, 1.5 times through the lineup and only 1 run against. Beautiful, man. Montero, really good stuff. Continues to struggle a little bit with consistency of command, but showcased again that he has a decently high ceiling because of how good the stuff is. The bullpen, Chase Lee, again. Okay, Chase Lee, I don't know how any righty is ever going to hit him. Legitimately. That dude is unhittable. He does the Chris Sale thing almost, but against right-handed hitters, right? He just the release point is behind the hitter's back. Tommy Kahnle, 1 inning of shutout ball with a walk and a strikeout. Threw a slider. Okay. Like, he's hilarious, dude. What an absolute pranker. What a jokester Tommy Kahnle is. Casey Mize gets the start in game 1 on Saturday. 5 1/3, 8 hits, 1 earned run, no walks, 5 strikeouts, 1 home run against being the only earned run. He now has a 2.12 ERA this season. The splitter was absolutely fantastic in this one. But I think the thing that I was most impressed with was the slurve. He threw this big loopy kind of curveball slider thing for multiple swings and misses, a couple of called strikes even. He was around the zone with it, and I thought it was really effective. He was throwing it back foot to righties, or to lefties, rather. Goodness. He was throwing it back foot to lefties and was got a swing and miss on it that way. Like, that is, gosh, like this pitching development is just so awesome, man. And they're just all working and grinding and trying to get better and better with every start. It's so cool to see. And this outing, like 8 hits and 1 earned run, he got BABIP'd to heck, man. Batting average, ball in play. Like, he just had bad luck with, there were so many weak grounders that just like, oh, the defender gets there but doesn't have a play on the runner and it's just barely out of reach. Like a little blooper that barely gets through the infield. Like, he had a handful of those too. This was a really good outing. The only thing that I want to see improvement on is the fastball. was hit around a decent amount. Wasn't missing too much with that pitch, but this was another fantastic outing for Casey Mize, another fantastic outing for Tarik Skubal. The bullpen, Hannafy and Holton go in game one on Saturday. Both of them look great. Holton, I know, gave up a couple of runs, but he's still an absolute dog. And we'll end the pitching with this. Did you do your homework? Did you do your homework? Will Vest shuts the door on Saturday. Go look at his Baseball Savant page. That is your assignment. If you haven't done it, shame on you. Go do it now, or when you're not driving or whatever. His ERA is like 0.5. And like analytically, he has been legitimately one of the most dominant relievers in the entire sport up to this point. And no one on the national media is talking about it. The depth of this pitching is abundant. Okay. They can reach down into Toledo and grab a really good quality major league arm anytime they want. The top end talent is really good. Will Vest, Tommy Kahnle, Tyler Holton out of the bullpen. Then obviously in the rotation, Flaherty, Skubal, Cy Young, right? Jackson Jobe, number one pitching prospect in baseball. Like they have the high end talent. They have an incredible manager that knows how to utilize all of these arms and when to utilize them. They also have a bunch of different situational pitchers. Chase Lee, incredible against righties. Then you have Brant Herter, can go multiple innings. You have Sean Gunther, who just got called up. Really solid, really, really good against lefties. Tyler Holton can be a high leverage lefty killer. There are so many different angles and velocities and shapes that you have to deal with as a hitter and as a lineup. Look, I'm not saying they're going to have like a sub-3 team ERA over the course of a full season. That would be pretty darn unreal. But like, I genuinely think it is sustainable for this team to be one of the best pitching staffs in the sport this year. I don't think this is like just a fluke and they're going to get, they're going to give up runs eventually. They're going to lose games. They're not going to win out. But like, I genuinely think this has the potential to be one of the best pitching staffs, starting and bullpen, in the entire sport. All right, let's talk offense, because 17 runs in 3 games ain't bad either. We'll talk about that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and the FanDuel Sportsbook app is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on all the action. Right now, you can join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet. You'll get $250 in bonus bets if that $5 bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking my favorite team or diving in to player props, from 3-pointers to steals, assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet on your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same game parlay for a chance to win big. So don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2, Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. As always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. And we will, of course, be back tomorrow recapping Game 1 against the Houston Astros. AJ Hinch going back to Houston for the first time this season. But right now, we are going to talk about this fantastic sweep against the Baltimore Orioles. Talked a lot about the pitching. I've, been talking nonstop with how much in love with the pitching I am. Let's talk offense. Like I said, 17 runs in 3 games this weekend. Zach McKinstry. He's hitting .321 with a .902 OPS, playing great defense everywhere and running the bases incredibly well. He went first to third on a passed ball this weekend. Like, what can't he do? He's hitting in the heart of the lineup, and not a single person in the fan base is like, oh, brother. Zach McKinstry in the heart of the lineup. What the heck is AJ doing? Everyone's like, yeah, no, that kind of makes sense. Especially if a righty's on the mound. Unbelievable. Riley Green with an absolute tank this weekend. Hopefully that can get him going a little bit Spencer Torkelson, another great weekend. Some timely hits, really big at bats, had the home run on Saturday as well. Walks. It just, I don't think that one's going away either. Not sure he's going to have an OPS of 930, but like I think that he's arrived and he's here, and he's gonna be a really solid middle of the lineup hitter for this team this year. He's on pace for like 50 homers, guys. Like I don't think he's gonna hit 50, but I think he'll clear 30. And I think he'll be that right-handed hitting power bat in the middle of this lineup that we desperately wanted this offseason. And how about Javi Baez? Javi Baez with 2 hits on Sunday, couple of RBIs, gets a walk on Sunday as well. He is now hitting 301 with a 716 OPS on the season. His batted ball data absolutely sucks, okay? But like, who cares? He is a 9 hitter. If he can just put the ball in play, we all know he has zero power anymore. If he can just put the ball in play and not 3-pitch strikeout and go chase pitches 10 feet out of the zone and still give the great defense that he's been giving this year, so far in center field, which hopefully doesn't have to last too much longer, but he's been really good. He was good again this weekend in center field. He's a clutch hitter. It's the only thing he's been good at his entire Tigers tenure. A lot of T's. Has been hitting with RISP. Was great again with that this weekend. It is so awesome to see. Doesn't make him worth the contract. Doesn't make him worth, whatever, 20, 25 mil. But like getting value out of him and finding an everyday spot and having him contribute to these wins is so awesome to see. Really, really happy for him. Really happy for the Tigers organization. It's so funny too, because like you look at the data for him, and it's like, everyone's talking about his great like improved approach and how he's not expanding the zone as much and whatever, and like that's technically true, but it like he went from first percentile in chase rate to like 8th percentile. Like it's not like, what I mean? It's just, it was so egregious before that even him just being in the bottom 8% in the league, we're like, oh my goodness, like this guy's a completely different hitter. He's still chasing, more than 92% of the league, but it's not, that's better than 99% of the league. So shout out Javi, man, for real. This has been a great story this year, and he's provided them a lot of value in center field because they don't have to play Ryan Kreidler every day. And that he has certainly produced more than Kreidler was. So speaking of the defense, we talk about center field. Javi, really solid weekend out there. I thought the defense as a whole this weekend was fantastic. Dylan Dingler looked great behind the plate. Caught a runner stealing. Yeah. Had another really close play on Sunday that, really good jump, but almost still got him. Just looked very comfortable back there. Riley Green with a couple of really great plays out in left field this weekend. Jace Young. Look, we'll talk about his struggles offensively in a second because I think that it's fair to bring up. He hasn't really hit yet again, but he looks completely different defensively at third base than he did a year ago. Like I am significantly more confident with him at third this season than I was at any point with him last year when he was in the majors and on the Tigers. So good to see him there. Just again, like as a whole over the weekend, really, really sound defense. And the Tigers took advantage of an Orioles pitching staff that A, has been really bad so far this year, but B, has had a hard time finding the strike zone. Like that's especially, I mean, you look at Charlie Morton, like this is a handful of pitchers on there that just their in zone rate is astronomically low, especially compared to their career. And the Tigers are letting opponents get themselves in trouble. Go ahead. Not going to give you a handout. Go ahead and throw as many of these pitches, early in the count that are uncompetitive as you want and force you to come back in the strike zone. And the Tigers, I thought, did that unbelievably well. Their game plan this weekend was fantastic. And honestly, credit to the hitting department of coaches, because they have been almost every game this year seemingly really, really on I guess just like on starting pitchers. That's been one of the themes so far, is they have been really, really good early in ball games and against the opponent's starters. First time through the lineup, off jump, man. You cannot, sleepwalk into a game against the Tigers. They're going to pop you in the mouth early, and then you're going to be losing with this pitching staff to go up against. And good luck with that. Let's talk about what went wrong. It's not a whole lot. Then we'll talk stuff and preview the series against the Astros. We'll do that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Game Time. There's nothing better than watching an MLB game live. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, well, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last-minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as Game Time gets closer, meaning you can score an incredible deal. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On, and as the Detroit Tigers have been playing a lot of home games lately and have plenty more for you this summer, I know I can count on Game Time to help grab tickets that meet my needs. There's so many great features. I've talked about them a lot all the time, right, over the years. I think my favorite is that I can preview my seat before purchasing, right? There's no surprises when I get into the stadium. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate you all for tuning in. As always, the Detroit Tigers sweep the Orioles this weekend. Let's talk about what went wrong. Not a whole lot. You're not going to find me catching a whole lot to talk about here. This was really good offense, really good pitching. Really tough to find too many things that went wrong. The only things I'll really point out, Kenta Maeda did not look any better. I know he technically didn't allow a run, which is great. We'll take that. We love seeing a shutout on the scorecard, but did not look any better. I'd still imagine that his time with the Tigers is close to coming to an end. I think it's probably sooner rather than later. I also think, as I said earlier, Jace Young offensively just does not look any different than he did a year ago to me so far. This is a guy that in the minor leagues continues to crush and hit for power, right? Didn't have a super high average this year, but walked a lot and hit for pop, and is walking a lot at the major league level still. So we'll take that. Finding value whenever you can is something we'll gladly take. But just every time he hits the ball, it's just a duck, man. There's just no power in his swing yet either. He still does not have his first major league home run, and he debuted like soon after the trade deadline a year ago. So we'll keep an eye on that. The only other thing from this weekend that went wrong was NBA refereeing, and that would be, Tim Hardaway Jr. was very, very clearly fouled on the last play of the game. So shout out the NBA. Stuff. So I want to start with the rain out. I hate rainouts. I just I plan my day around watching when to watch the Detroit Tigers, right? Obviously part of that is job related now, but even well before I was doing this show, this is my biggest passion and my obsession in life. So I always can't stand when it's Friday getting ready for a ball game and then there's no ball game. The doubleheader. So Montero gets called up and Jackson Jobe, then they skip his start. So he will not pitch again until Wednesday. So a lot of people freaking out about this. This is super common practice for Hinch and the Tigers over the years. They do this literally every single doubleheader. The AJ Hinch does not want to burn through two starters in one calendar day for rotation purposes. If he went Jobe Mize, then both Jobe and Mize would have been on the same amount of rest for the next time through the rotation. and you need to make sure that your arms get rested and have the appropriate amount of days off. So they called up Montero, as they're probably going to do all season if there's rainouts and doubleheaders. Is there, like, you're going to see Montero or whoever is down in Toledo and on the 40 and ready to pitch. Maybe some Matt Manning. I don't know. He's been relieving though down in Toledo. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Like, this is very common practice, and something that like the Tigers aren't going to stop doing. This is something that makes sense, and the Tigers should do, because then if they don't, it's going to really screw up, and somebody's going to be pitching on short rest and blah blah blah. Sean Gunther recalled for Montero after he sent down. Like I said, he had a sub-1 ERA last year and is just chilling in Toledo. Like, that's just unbelievable to me. This was a great weekend. Bryce Rayner down in the minor leagues continues to crush the baseball. What else? Cody Clemens traded to Minnesota from Philly. So in division now. We'll see what happens there. Former Tiger Eugenio Suarez, famously traded for Alfredo Simon back in 2014, 2015, has a 4-home-run game. I think people need to realize the magnitude of that. There are fewer 4-home-run games than there are perfect games in Major League Baseball history. That is a very rare achievement and is really cool to see. Even more impressive, the Diamondbacks lost that ball game. They had one guy hit 4 homers and lost. That is ridiculous. Go check out Locked On D-backs. Yeah, great stuff over there. Gage Workman will not return to the Detroit Tigers. We talked about on Friday how he was put on waivers, DFA'd from the Cubs. So if he cleared waivers, he would have been given back to the Tigers minor league system. He unfortunately was not. They actually managed to pull off a trade before the DFA time ran out. So he is traded to the Chicago White Sox. So Gage Workman stays in Chicago and now is in the Detroit Tigers division. So hopefully that is something that, he struggled mightily for the Cubs in the regular season, even though this whole fan base was kind of freaking out about how good of a spring training he had. So we will see where that goes. But if there's a roster that can give him some legitimate playing time at the major league level, despite the fact that he's probably not ready, it's the Chicago White Sox and maybe the Colorado Rockies. The Houston Astros is the next opponent for your Detroit Tigers. They're 14-13. The pitching matchups, you have Ronel Blanco versus Jack Flaherty, Reese Olson versus Ryan Gusto, and Jackson Jobe v. TBD. So the biggest thing that I take out of this series, and then just like looking ahead, and when I preview series, I've said this a few times already this year, but it just continues to prove itself right and reign true, is like with this pitching staff and bullpen, I genuinely believe the Tigers should go into every single series expecting to win, like to win the series. Like, I don't really care who they play. Like, I don't care who's lined up across from them. I don't care if it's the Dodgers again, even though they swept us the first weekend of the season. That is how good this pitching staff is. Like, they will have the advantage on the mound in at least 2, if not all 3 games against everyone, like dang near, if not every team in baseball, very close to every team in baseball. Who go through the calendar so far this year and tell me how many series the opponent has had the starting pitching matchup advantage for at over half of said series. I think you could argue it's legitimately just LA to open the season. There's some close ones, and there's some arguments that could go either way. But I genuinely think it might be one series, and it was the first 3 games of the season. 18-10, best record in the American League. Let's go take 2 of 3 from Houston. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers. How awesome is it that that's the expectation? How far we've come. All right. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We, of course, will be back tomorrow recapping Game 1 against the Houston Astros. I appreciate you all so much for tuning in during the wins, the losses, you name it. We're going through it together. Peace and love. Going to therapy's dope, and I'll catch you all tomorrow, baby. Go Tigers.